way to, can we say where we're going to?
Oh, you don't have to say the building we're going to.
Well, we're on our way to meet the chief of police.
For Utica.
Yep.
Which?
Go right ahead.
No, go
We're
ahead.
getting ready to go and file a report on...
It's not actually a report, guys. Complaint.
Well, complaint.
We're going to do an
Not
officer
a report,
complaint
but yeah.
with the chief of police of Utica, because that is the department that we are told that Donovan Herod works for. And we believe that hopefully they have policies against the crimes that we believe that Donovan has committed under IC codes here in Indiana. But this is a complaint, not necessarily a report. We're going to give the chief an opportunity to handle it, to handle his employee, because he's off the leash, right?
He's definitely off the leash.
What do you guys think? Is Donovan Herod off his leash?
I don't know that he was ever on one. I think that's the problem.
You guys think Donovan needs a leash? Needs a chief that'll hold him responsible and accountable and keep him from getting out of control? Do you guys think so? Put a 1 in chat if you think he does. 2 in the chat if you think it's fine the way it is. I don't think there'll be many 2s. We're bringing you with us for this meeting, and it's not at the PD, and it's not because we can't go to the PD. We will see that in my video that I'll be dropping tomorrow, that we got permission. No, well, I hate that word, it's too stupid. No, we didn't get permission.
They didn't allow us.
We proved with the court's clerks that we absolutely cannot be stopped from going to the Utica City Police Department.
We did that to make sure that we were covered in every aspect. We didn't want any hiccups whatsoever, and we didn't want anyone to be able to come back and say differently later on down the road. So it's always good to make sure that you cover all aspects of situations that could go wrong.
Before you do it.
Yes. You got to actually put yourself in a mindset of what somebody would do.
You got to be prepared for what could happen. And
Thank you, Cliff.
Thank you, Cliff. And then try to account for anything that could potentially happen, and really expand your mind to what all could happen, because you never know. So, you know, you got to try to cover all those aspects. You never know what they're going to do, especially when they're out of control like Donovan is.
But now, my question is, do you guys think that the chief of police is going to handle this accordingly? Like, what do you guys think?
Okay, so this is the chief.
Yeah, let Chris give you a little bit of a recap on who the chief of Utica Police Department is.
Yeah, I'll give you a little. I'm going to give you some more information on what you're going to expect here. If you do know who Willie Denny is, I'm going to give you more than you know yet, right here. So Willie is the chief that sat in his car and pointed his camera at me and refused to let us come in and do a records request in Utica a while back. Said that I had it out with his wife or something like that, and we had a little spat back and forth, and
completely unrelated to what we were doing.
And then he just took off. If you guys remember that video, yeah, that happened. But here's the part you didn't know. We later, Official Misconduct and I later went to Utica City Council meeting, where there was an officer that I'm just getting my.
Well, I'm getting resituated here. So.
There was an officer that had gotten fired for committing a crime or two, and we went to that council meeting, and we actually had a really good sit down and talk with the chief, and we hashed all that out. It's all water under the bridge, guys. Mm-hmm. You know, we're grown men, him and I.
I was gonna say, I ain't no
You're not a grown man, but you handled it like one. But we talked it out. We put all that behind us, because I think most of it was caused by other people anyway. Which it doesn't matter. Like I said, it's under the bridge. It's past.
Right.
So we're not even worried about none of that drama. That was silly, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't pertain to our legal endeavors.
But that's just a little bit of, you know, what has led up to this moment, like both aspects of it.
I've been talking to the chief. You know, we've been very reasonable with each other through multiple contacts.
We don't feel like he is completely hopeless in being
not at all
a good chief of police.
He wants to. He's been running a very small department. He's had low-level responsibilities in comparison to the bigger department. So, you know, he's got stuff to learn. He admits that. He says, you know, it's a lot of responsibility on him. He's not exactly like super thrilled to be a chief, but at the same time, he's very, very proud of his position. And I give him, he has a right to do that. He earned what position he has.
Absolutely.
So we got nothing against the chief right now. You know, we let all that little bit of animosity go. And I'll put clips in my video to show you guys exactly what we're talking about. We did record it, but it just wasn't, there was nothing, there wasn't enough to actually do a video on yet at the time.
Right.
And I've actually been talking to Willie about, you know.
I think that would be great. I think you guys should definitely do that.
Well, I don't think he's able to per his policies.
Oh, gotcha.
I think that's what we ended up figuring out. But
understood.
Good, you know, telling you guys what happened behind the scenes.
Right.
But previous knowledge of a lot of the stuff that was happening with Donovan behind the scenes, and that might be a little bit confirmed with other officers too, because we've had a lot of officers come to us saying we had no clue about the way Donovan has been. Like,
yeah,
we didn't know.
That is true.
And another thing.
Instances of that. So.
I'm sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. I was just saying we've had several instances of that where officers are completely in the dark to his behavior and what he does.
There he is. He's parked over here in his squad car. So he's brought an officer complaint form for us. Yeah, I mean, we're getting ready to do this. Hey, Willie. You ain't feeling good, are you, buddy? Man, he's been sick, guys. We're live, just so you know. Well,
I'm probably going to hang tight in here for a minute.
All right, Willie, I know you don't feel good, but this is official for us, buddy. First of all, man, I'm going to use hand sanitizer. How about one of them? All right, good to see you. I'm sorry you're sick. So
let me
as
see.
Donovan's chief, are you like you're in the position over him, right? Okay. There's some stuff that's been going on lately, man. I don't know what you can do when he doesn't do it in his official capacity. I don't know what his official capacity is.
Hang on.
Okay. So when you guys are not
Let me
working
flip you guys
on
around.
duty, you're still responsible to your department, am I right?
To some extent, yeah.
So behaviors and maybe unlawful.
Let me get my thing on here. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
Bear with me.
We had it out with Donovan for no reason whatsoever on his part. He ran to the JPD and made a false complaint against me and Tiffany, and he also went to Clark County Courthouse and filed false CPOs. Stuff he knows that wasn't necessary, okay? Which I believe to be false reporting and obstruction because we're in federal cases. So we're concerned with that being multiple. And I'll tell you what, because all it was, I saw that Tahoe parked outside. We were at the courthouse doing the video, and we saw the Tahoe parked out there with expired plates. I didn't know whose it was. I guess it's new, you know, but we saw it expired by like 3 months. And so our thing was, like we always do, if we see something that's like cop parked in the no parking zone. Oh yeah, you're fine, buddy. I'm sorry you're not feeling good. So it was the same as usual for us. We saw a fleet vehicle with expired plates. We were going to report it, you know, and then talk to whatever officer was driving it and ask him, you know, hey man, have you mentioned that to your chief or whatever? Well, it turned out it was Donovan. So I mean, we were too far in to walk away. We didn't know it was going to be him come out. We were at the vehicle, you know, and man, he responded way unprofessional, like way unprofessional. And I'm not the most reasonable man in those moments either. You know what I'm saying? You've been there.
But I didn't go, it was way less than what I put on you that day. You know what I mean? I literally just said, I'd already called Scott McCoy's, I was on the phone with McCoy, so I reported it to McCoy, hey man, there's a black Tahoe here, fleet vehicle with expired plates, man, we're going to have to figure that out too, you know, just kind of sort of teasing like I do. But at the same time, I do expect it to be taken care of. I don't think people should be able to illegally drive.
Well, I can tell you one thing, it's not.
I know that. I just learned that. So, but this part of the endeavor, you know, is to learn the details as I report. Because, you know, I don't know what's going on. I just see a Tahoe with expired plates. I know it's a fleet vehicle. It's my job to question those things. You know, it's tax money we're utilizing here. So I figured, yeah, it's worth reporting because they're expired and there's somebody responsible for that. So let's figure it out, right? Instead of just driving it around possibly unregistered, you know, what if we got in a wreck in that thing or something, right? So anyway, Donovan comes out and he immediately jumps in the car, completely ignores us, and I said, wait, your tags are expired. I've already reported it. Like, just wait. You know, so we actually were told by McBoy that a couple of cops were coming to check the vehicle out, which I didn't think anybody get in trouble anyway, man, because it's cops, right? I mean, what are they going to do? They would probably just contact whoever was responsible for the vehicle, not let it leave until they got proper registration stuck on it, you know? Well, anyway, his response was to almost run her over. And look, I don't want to mislead you on the details in your mind. I don't want you to understand it wrong. So I'll tell you exactly how it was. It was not like flooring it, it was not pulling out, it was nothing to that extent.
Right.
It was simply that she was standing at the window with her camera and trying to get his attention because he was ignoring her. And she was trying to say, and she was saying out loud, your tags are expired. And I'm coming up, and I took a picture of the plate, and I come around, and I start coming up. Well, when I came up, he starts going backwards, and his mirror had extended out when he started the truck. So she was in the line of fire because he cut the wheel all the way, and then he starts backing into it with the mirror. He was hitting her with the mirror. So she had to, like, push herself away from the mirror, which is out of line, man. You know, just let us get out of the way, you know, and honestly, don't leave. I wasn't telling him to get out. I wasn't telling him to do anything other than wait. That was it. So he goes to JPD. This is where it really went right. We were going to JPD because we had already reported it, and then he fled, right? So he took off. I said, look, let's let the police handle it, you know, from here. So we go straight to JPD to talk to McBoy since I was on the phone with him and he sent units. And there was Donovan in there. As we walk in, he starts screaming, I don't feel comfortable around these people. Get me out of here. Like he does. Help, help. Fucking weird, dude. That is weird. You know, you don't scream help unless you need help. And he did not need help. He knew we were there to report the tax. That is it. You know?
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
If you was to pull into the courthouse and see an expired tag that was not a police car, would you have done the same thing?
Well, no, because my channel doesn't do that.
I'm just asking.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I mean, I wouldn't promote them riding around with no tag. You know what I'm saying? Like, we get our tags updated on time. We try our best anyway to keep up with all the, you know, we're all following the law. You know what I mean? So, like, no,
Right.
I don't, like, encourage people that aren't police to break the law. It's the other way around. I encourage police to follow the law. And it's not just police. I do it with judges. I do it with, you know, anybody. Like anybody in government. That's
Anybody that's in a government position, they're literally leading the community by example because you guys are looked up to and you guys have to set that standard. If you guys are breaking the law, then everybody else is going to think that they can too. And that's what we want, is we want everybody to follow the law.
Police are an influence. And it's not just police, but all government employees that we elect, we highly influence them, you know. So we expect, me and Tiffany, our channel and our platform, we expect to hold accountability to any unlawful behavior, even if it's something silly like, you know, 2 months expired tags. We at least want to know what it's about.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, my questioning is just to find out. Sometimes, ultimately, it's like, I mean, an officer might say, hey, man, I'm in here because somebody called and it was, you know, urgent, and I parked in the, you know, in the wheelchair ramp zone, but I had to because it was urgent. And I would be like, okay, I get that, you know.
Right.
In this case, I was just expecting Donovan to say, here's why the tags are expired, we're handling it, and I wouldn't have known it was Donovan either, right? It could have been any cop come out. I just knew it was a cop vehicle.
Or even if they were to just completely blow us off and then just go to the B&B. Like, don't go and lie,
Well,
you know?
it wasn't coffee, you did find that out.
Well, here's what I'm found out so far. I guess I was told by JPD in that moment, with that report, right, that the fire department purchased the vehicle, like New Chapel, and then it was given to Donovan to use as a fire department vehicle. So that's why I'm saying I don't think it was yours. I asked you, I confirmed that with you. So I am doing my research to find more out. But I also learned that it is a police utility upfit. So it has a police upfit.
If I'm not mistaken, they all come pretty much fitted the same way. It's just the lights, sirens, and everything a little bit different between the fire and police.
For example, a fire vehicle would not have blue. They would have red and white probably.
Yeah, I think it's
Which is one of the things I'm questioning about this particular vehicle. It has red and blue.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm wondering why in the heck are they driving a police upfit at the fire department? That's why I thought it was one of yours, because it has red and blue.
Well, they may have bought it, but that's all they had, and you know, they changed lights out there.
Maybe.
And added lights, and I don't know.
And we're going to continue to find out. You know, that's what me and her do. We're just continuing. Because you know we're doing...
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, really,
No, I
all you guys
ain't
good
got a
sides,
good
dude.
side.
Come on. They're both good sides.
We feel like you do
Don't
have a
say
good
bastard,
side.
But no, I think that was kind of a big deal because he went to JP and made false reports, you know, and then was very dramatic, like super unprofessional. Anybody that we would expect, even if it is someone who we've had, like look at you and me, we've had a moment, right? And here you are, and here I am being completely professional. So I mean, we would expect that Donovan would be able to do the same as, you know, an employee of both. I mean, he's high stature. He's got fire department position, EMS position, police marshal position. I mean, come on, man. You got to be professional if you're going to hold all them titles.
Yep.
This dude's out of control. Exactly what we've been saying all along. And this is a minor thing. The tags, that's teeny tiny. I could be reporting him for punching people and hitting them with flashlights and handcuffs, which I could. I've got plenty of content right now that's available to me with proof that he has done such a thing recently. And well, not as recent as working for you. Okay, but and maybe, but I don't have that. I have proof that not long ago, when acting as Clark County, he beat the dude with the flashlight and it didn't even report the incident. Okay, that's just one. And I'm not doing those videos on it. What I'm doing right now is just either some stuff about our raid, you know, and then currently he just popped himself on the radar when he did the tags, you know. And I know he was at the courthouse. He was probably having a bad day because his son is being charged with 2 F5s and an F6 for domestic battery and having a weapon and all that on his girlfriend. So, like, I didn't know it was Donovan, though, bro. You know what I mean? I didn't know he was there.
I didn't even know that he had court that day.
No,
I
had
did
no
not.
clue.
I had no clue because I don't follow
But I later
him.
learned that was the court date time. So I'm thinking maybe he was having like a super bad day because he was in court with his son and all that. But it's still, it is, but it's not an excuse.
I'm not saying it's an excuse.
I understand. Yep. And that's all.
Everybody has bad days.
And that's why I'm offering it to you, just so you can understand that all the aspects. You know, I want you to handle this the best you can in your position. You know, because as I told you before when we talked, you know, that fun to talk to the dad outside of the that always happens in your video. You know, me and her are legitimately concerned with having Donovan in any position like that. Matter of fact, we believe that the best place for him, for all the criminal activity that we absolutely have proof of, is jail. That's where he
Right.
needs to go.
Absolutely.
Like, for public safety. But if you can't have that, then the next best thing is for any agencies that he's involved with to hold him extremely accountable. Like put a leash on him, man.
Can
You know?
would you be willing to send me, you know, that video?
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Matter of fact, we're
Email, right?
no, you got a card or want to write it down? Well, I got your messenger.
I don't know if I would rather do it in the official way.
Okay, yeah.
All it is Utica TV 2023 at Gmail.
I'll have it on here, man. Okay, yeah, we'll do that, right? And then know that it's going to be evidentiary for the because he filed on it. And it seems like we went yesterday because when he did the EPO, he attached, you're supposed to attach all the cases involving the parties that are currently happening. Well, he failed to
Did
put
not.
our federal case on there where we've named him as a person that broke her spine and beat me in handcuffs, right? He should have, he's supposed to put that. He omitted that evidentiary in the EPO form. Then he says he attached the one that he made at JPD that day, and he made false allegations. He said she punched his window. He said that I told him to get out of the car and threatened him. It's a lie. We have the video. It's obvious, right? You'll see when you see the video. It's unedited, the one I'm saying. And then, I mean, complete lie, bro. All we did was said, hey, your tag expired, stop. That's it. And that was after communicating with McBoy about it. So it's like, come on, man, this is ridiculous. In other words, it's obvious that he was lying. Okay, like I know he knows he's lying, and that is illegal. Like that's in statute. I can see. I'll send it to you in an email. I'll send you the statutes that apply that I believe apply. We'll go from there, and then the other big deal is this. This is literally a constitutional violation I'm about to tell you. Okay, and it can fall on your department. I'm not going to do that to you if I don't. You know what I'm saying? If I don't have to, I'm not going to put a lawsuit out on your agency unless it's necessary. So I can't promise I won't, but I can tell you I don't want to, right? But he put that me and her are not allowed to come to your agency. He's trying to utilize a civil court procedure, which would fall criminal eventually after it's been concluded. He's trying to put the address of Utica Police Department as his home so that we can't come to your
Well, he
department.
can put down a place of business because you or I say you wanted to file just an example, an EPO on her. And you have, say you work at Home Depot.
Okay.
You can have that EPO where she cannot come to the specific
Understood.
Home Depot.
So he can do this without violating constitutional. He can do it on where he works over at Ford and Louisville because that's in the private capacity.
Right, he
works
can't
there,
do it on a
but
public
he
agency.
cannot do it in a public building.
If I think it correctly, it can be taken care of to the fact that he's on duty.
Well, I'll tell you this, it's been verified by the Attorney General's
Okay.
office and by the court clerks. He can't.
Okay.
He cannot. You cannot, because it would be, what's that called, where you pick one person out and not the other people? You can't just stop a certain person or certain people. What is that
It
called?
would be impeding progress.
No,
like being,
no,
well-
not prejudice, but something like that, where you're
I don't know.
saying, well, I don't want this certain people
that's something I gotta
to
look
be
up.
able to come to this building. Like under law, like you can't separate people out. So, and we didn't violate any laws. You know what I'm saying? So the only time we could be a trespass from any public building would be if we were found to have committed some kind of crime. You know what I'm saying? Which we did not. And even if you did utilize the EPO, it's a civil order, so it's not criminal. Like, and it wouldn't have been at your police station or at the fire department, which is the other place it's looking on. Now, the fire department, the way I understand, that's a third-party contract, so maybe that might be a private company, it might be private property, which we've never made any attempts to go there anyway, nor do we
No.
plan to. I mean, I think the way I'm going to handle all of my complaints and processes on when it comes to Donovan is to do it through either where the contract is signed, which is with the county commissioner, or if it's regards to his as a marshal, you know what I mean?
Whatever
So
the
I need to
respective
be able to come
agency
to where
is.
you're at. You know, that's not, it would be illegal to keep it.
And it would be best if like been doing is contact me and I can
I don't
make
mind
sure
doing that.
and I can make sure because I don't like the conflict and I want it a little as much. So
Yeah, we don't like it either, and we have no problem contacting you beforehand, but we just want everyone to acknowledge that he can't put a public place on
Yeah, I don't
there.
need permission, you know what I'm saying? I'm only doing that out of respect.
see, I was going to check into that today because I had time this morning, not feeling good. So I was going to actually, if I'd have been on duty, meet you somewhere else just
Just
to
in
make
case.
sure.
Right.
Well, I did the other thing. I went and established it on record with the court clerk, and they in fact came back and said, "You're right. You can go to that police station. He can't." She said, "I don't even know why he put this on here. He can't do that." So, and we'll work all that out. But like I said, man, you know, you got an officer that doesn't know the law, right? You got an officer that's breaking the law, potentially. I mean, actually, I can say for sure, and maybe later we'll do an official report.
Well, you got to think about it like this. If I was in Utica and I had a life or death emergency and I come to your PD there in Utica and he has a restraining order on me from there, I can go to jail because I'm literally in a crisis moment and I need law enforcement.
And see, something like that, even if, say, we had an EPO on each other and you have to be in front of my house and somebody was shooting at you, you needed I wouldn't.
Right. But I mean, there you're falling to officer discretion, but not
Right.
everything falls to officer discretion.
Yeah.
Some things are just black
Well,
and
and some officers don't deserve discretion.
right. Well, we won't get off on that.
Sorry. I just need to put that out there.
But you know, but there's we have rights, you know, constitutionally protected civil rights, and one of which is public areas we have access to, and all places like police departments are public. That is a public building. It's there for us. We pay for it in our taxes. It's the protection system is for us, so they can't stop us from coming to it, especially with the civil order. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of case law that already establishes all that. It's all over the place. But we won't get off on that. I mean, there's no reason to get stuck on it.
Right,
Just research it
right.
and you'll see. I don't think we should report things yet.
I think a complaint will work. It'll.
Do you mind? Do you want me to just fill it out and send it to you?
Or either that or the next 2 days I won't be down there. I've got training sessions going on.
Okay.
Okay.
Scottsburg. Now, if tomorrow evening, if you get it done tomorrow evening or Friday evening, send me a text because I should be on my way back 4:30 somewhere in the neighborhood.
Okay.
If you want, we can meet back here and you can get back to me.
Okay.
Or we can wait until Monday or something. It's
Right,
whatever
right.
y'all-
As long as it's away from Donovan for us, you know, because not only do we, I mean, obviously we're going to follow any protection order, even, you know, temporary, but we don't feel comfortable around this guy, you know what I mean? Just because we are publishing what he's done doesn't mean we want to be in his face, you know what I'm saying? We want to be far from him. I mean, so we're trying to do that as best we can. Otherwise, I would have stood on my rights and said, no, Willie, I'm coming to the police department. You know what I'm saying? My thought was, holy shit, that's in Utica. There's only 1 or 2 ways in and out. If Donovan throws a fit on us, or if he lies to police and tells them to come get us, and the cops don't understand rights, we could get in jail
And
or
see,
beat
I
up.
wouldn't have, because I wasn't for sure, I wouldn't have let you all come to the police station just for that fact, to protect you and to protect me.
I mean, I get it, Willie, but you'd be putting yourself in a
And I
situation.
understand. I
you know
wouldn't
what
have. I
mean?
wouldn't have demanded that you done it. I would have said, "Hey, I'm not for sure about this.
Preferably.
Can we meet down the road?"
So we
somewhere?"
agree on that then. Preferably, I wouldn't like. I would prefer not to have to go for now. You know, but my real preference really is this. I don't think he should be working in that capacity. I'm telling you, man, the guy is literally a criminal who has committed multiple felonies and Indiana statute violations.
And we talked about that.
I know, but I've never shown you. That's the thing. I've never shown it to you. I think if you'd seen it, you would think totally differently about your perception of it.
Well, when you can, I told you when you can, I'll be more than happy to look at it.
Okay, and there would be multiple people that would also verify in their positions as victims. It's all over the place, even in Utica. You have
Well-
people that are in Utica who are scared to report what happened to them with Donovan. And it's not, once again, none of it's been since he's transferred, which, unfortunately, my biggest issue is that I'm scared it's going to be soon. You know what I mean? That's why I'm doing this with you, because I think it's going to be a matter of time. You know, I know him. I know his history, and if you see the history that I know that we're using in court, you'd say the same thing. Like, son of a bitch, man, we hired a loose cannon.
It's repetitive
You know?
character displays. Like, it shows what type of person he truly is. And it's repetitive and consistent, right?
Yeah.
I don't mean to cut this short.
No, you're
I'm going to
good.
give you
You're
one
good.
more thing, Willie. This is for you to look into. Can you look up someone's background, like deep?
I can to a certain extent.
So like court document.
Do you
police
want me to
report?
stay live on this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can to a certain extent.
Just wanted to make sure.
I just can't just run somebody just.
Okay. Could you do it based on our complaint? Possibly.
Possibly. I'll have
Okay,
to check
you might
into
want to reach out to the state police and see if it's okay
Yeah,
to
because
do
I
this.
don't want to do anything to get, me in trouble. Like,
Right.
I can't
I
say,
know.
oh, let's see what's on Chris. I
I
can't
won't
just
do that
it
to you.
have a
Yeah.
reason
So
to do
you
it.
do this. You use our complaint, look into it, contact ISP, see if it's okay for you to run.
Well, I'll have it to keep it unbiased. If
Have
it's
someone
okay,
else.
I'll have somebody else run it.
Sounds good to me, brother. But here's what I want you to check out. I have a very valid reason to believe that Donovan was charged with multiple felonies in California before he came back to Clark to work.
Boom.
And the felon cannot have a gun. And it was not, he did not win that case. He lost. So he is literally a felon based on the evidence that was provided to me. And it is a extremely credible, multiple sources. I heard that, well, I don't even like saying I heard. I have seen that he was charged with domestic battery, with a weapon, strangulation, and multiple other things. And it's documented. And then it looks like in my case file has been wiped clean of it. So I don't understand how that happens. Like, I don't understand how is Indiana not on record for something that has a court record too. So my thing is, I would like for you all in your capacity, because you probably have a better reach than we do, just being able to go on my case and see what the truth is behind that. Because I literally in my possession have a document that is from the court saying that he was charged with what I just told you.
Well, there's a difference between
No way.
being charged
Not
and
charged.
convicted.
Convicted of what I told you. Convicted. In other words, this court order was based on the conviction. It says, the judges said, we see the conviction, based on that conviction, this is the outcome of this other case. I have it. I'll send it. I'll see if I can send it to you. It doesn't belong to me. And it is a, the case is not mine to give, because it's not public record.
Right,
Okay.
it's no longer public,
But
so
I'll
you
see
need
if
to
I'm
get
allowed to
permission.
let you see. I'll probably have to redact some of it, but the big thing is please respect this person's anonymity and make sure that Donovan does not know unless you know that you can protect this people.
Absolutely,
Because
because
that's their fear, man. They're scared of him. They're scared to tell what's going on because they're scared of him. They think that he will kill them. And from what I've seen, they have a legitimate fear.
that's one thing that I want law enforcement to always do, is if you know for a fact someone is a victim, especially a female, protect them.
To the best of your ability.
Absolutely.
I think you
I
would.
do, but I'm not biased, female or male.
Well, yeah, I'd want you to protect Chris if somehow I'd, gotten some major muscles and was beating him up and stuff, but, for sure.
It can go either way.
No,
Yeah.
and both parties are innocent until they're proven to be guilty. But like I said, man, I don't play that he said, she said game. You know what I mean? Everything I do is based on what I can show as fact. I'm pretty good about it, I mean, I might get involved in some irresponsible hearsay stuff and go back and forth with people, but it's not what I edit and publish. Anything you see that I publish, man, I got absolute hard, tangible proof. And that's the way it is, But dude, our concerns about Donovan are they're different, man. It's like a whole nother beast, you know what I'm saying? It's not about tags. It's not about parking in fire lanes. It's not about having a contract that might be, in violation of conflict. This is one that we're like legitimately life-altering in fear.
Well,
That man is the one.
All right.
I gotta run this.
Thank you. Yeah, you get healthy, get well.
Hope you start feeling better.
I appreciate it.
Get better.
In this video that I do, I'm going to cut in where we
I'm
were.
going to head back on over to the car, guys.
I mean, I got records is what happened. So, and I'm worried about the safety of the people in the records that are not Donovan. So, and it wasn't necessarily always victims that gave me records and stuff. A lot of times I'm good at digging, and I got a lot of really good sources that have access to things. And don't go guessing. It's not like
the access people are not what you probably think. They're not like, you know, cops breaking the law or nothing like that. I wouldn't promote that. I wouldn't allow.
Right.
I wouldn't let myself be a part of it if it was that.
So I was telling him, I was like, so he just dropped a really big.
Yeah. I was going to in this video anyway, y'all. So.
And I told him that I would have you talk to him a little bit more.
Donovan was convicted in California. According to the records, he was convicted in California of felonies before becoming employed by Clark County Sheriff's Department. I don't know how that happened, because it can't. Felons are not allowed to have guns. So
Right.
how can you be a cop with a gun? And what agency would allow their policies to accept hiring a felon? Like, makes no sense. And then we like to measure what potentially may have happened, like what thing went wrong to allow how throughout the processes and how throughout the system, which thing could have went wrong for it to happen. And I will go ahead and tell you one of the ways that it could have happened, and I'm not saying it did, I'm saying it very well could have. Jeremy Mull, the prosecutor at the time, and still is, who has a history of being way too easy on police officers to get caught doing stuff, his office potentially could have made a partial error in that for it to have happened. That's what I said.
Huge.
I'm very clear.
I know, but
yeah, I mean that could be one of the factors that were involved. So we are going to be investigating that to the nth degree.
have been. Chris has been.
Yeah, but we're going to be doing it with the channel more. Like, you guys
Yeah.
are getting ready to start seeing some stuff come out that I've been keeping behind the scenes, and I just now let that cat out of that bag a little bit, and so it's open. The door's open. It's time to
Everything going on, I feel like it is past time.
yeah, I think we've been dragging our feet a little bit on exposing a lot of the stuff we've known. And of course, we have to be a little careful because we are in federal litigation against this man, and now we're in civil, potentially criminal litigation against this man.
Right.
But guys, it's all smoke and mirrors on his part. He's trying to protect himself. He's trying to abuse the system, which is illegal under the Indiana code. He's trying to abuse the system to intimidate us, to keep us from doing lawful actions. It is a lawful act to tell someone, detain someone's vehicle for having expired tags. That is a lawful act. To report that is a lawful act. And it says in the IC that you cannot go and make a report against someone or intimidate them in any way, shape, or form for doing a lawful act. That's our IC. That is the code for the state of Indiana law. So it is in fact a law violation for him to have went and made a false report against us because we said your tags are expired. Let the police see that. And if the judges don't see that, then there's a huge problem with the judges around Clark or wherever we go knowing the law and being able to interpret it, because it ain't up to your feelings when you're a judge. Interpretation is a big word that's way over. It's used out of context. Okay, there's very specific definition to all the words in law, and interpretation is very specific definition. It is saying that judges are the only ones in the system that have the position, the authority to utilize case law in determining the answer to an argument on a law, and that is what they're defining as interpreting. So the judges are not just like using opinions to determine the result of a case. The opinion is another word that has a legal definition. Opinion means amount of judges that agree on something, how it gets put into legislation, so all these words in law have different definitions. Not all of them, but most of them have different definitions than what they do in, say, Webster's dictionary.
Right.
Okay?
That's something huge. Is if you're looking up a legal definition, make sure 100% that you put in legal definition.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, we always do
regular
that.
definition versus legal definition can you know, there could be a huge difference, and that could cost you getting in trouble or not getting in
or
trouble.
making false reports on accident, or misinterpreting a legal situation. You know, it can have you calling cops when you're not supposed to. It can have you expecting cops to do something criminal when it was in fact a civil case. I mean, there's so many ways. I mean, you could be making false allegations completely about someone because you didn't understand the legal definition versus the Webster's definition. So that's huge. That is huge. And then as you're reading a law, at least in Indiana, when you're reading a law, there's going to be words that are written throughout the definition of the statute that either have another attachment to it, like another law to go look up, you know, like for like jurisdictions and stuff, or it'll be a word. Like, for example, I just ran across this the other day. In that conflict of interest contract stuff that I'm looking at, the word waive, and it's not W-A-V-E, it's W-A-I-V-E. And the definition to that typically is different than the legal definition to it. In the legal definition, it was saying for someone to bring up an objection, right? And that is the definition. Actually, let me read it to you because this gets a little confusing.
While he's pulling that up, he came into the living room and he was like, "Hey, Tiff." He's like,
what is the legal definition of the word waive?
"What do you think this word
According to
means
Black's
used
Law
in
Dictionary.
law?" So I was telling him what I thought that it would mean, and he's like, "Nope."
Yeah, okay, so an act of voluntarily giving up a right. That is the definition. So when it says not waive, it's saying not giving up a right. And I know that seems like you're like, well, yeah, that's what I thought it meant, Chris. But when you're reading it in a statute, it absolutely looks, so there's two definitions.
I was going to say, you gave me the other one because that's the definition that I gave you.
Yeah, that's what you answered me
That's
when
what
I
I
asked you what you
answered.
thought it was. So that's why I'm doing this. So they can-
Okay.
Of W-A-I-V-E. All right. Refrain from insisting or using a right to claim. So I'm refraining from making a claim, right? Or, this is definitely interesting. Where's the other definition that I was reading? I think it's right here.
I think Lou just popped off a funny.
To relinquish something, to give something up. So it means both. To say, I'm not giving it up, I'm standing on it. And it also means to give something up, depending on which dictionary you're looking at the word. So it literally has opposite meanings, depending on how you're using it.
Well, I think that it depends upon a lot about the context, obviously.
It does.
And
So to dismiss, to place on. So it's the opposite again, guys. There's two different versions.
isn't it a pronoun? It would be the pronoun prior to.
To give up or to call upon. Those are both opposites, right? Put a 1 in the chat if you think those are opposites. To give up or to call upon. Or to refrain from pressing. Or to bring to attention. So obviously those are opposites. So be careful. And it depends on how it's being used. And what I'm saying is, in legal definitions, they will put words in front of this such as the word not. So not waive, which makes it even more confusing because which way are they using waive is super important. And then you have to turn it around, reverse it. I know that's confusing, but it won't be if you run across
Well,
it.
listen, I'm just a little country idiot, and I always thought that the spelling had a huge thing to do with it, like waving.
Yeah,
you know,
there's a different
to
way.
let somebody know, bring attention to a wreck. You're going to wave at them and be like, "Hey, there's a wreck."
So it gets even more confusing.
I would be spelling that W-A-V-E, not W-A-I-V-E.
Taking the
So,
body camera off.
I don't know.
All right, let's get back to the subject.
Yeah.
Is that okay with you? It's your channel.
Absolutely. I just thought that was really something important.
I know that might have thrown a lot of you all off who's been following my channel when you watched the video previously with Willie, and then all of a sudden now, boom, we're normal. right? So I'm sure you're thrown off already. But considering that, taking that into consideration, here's some of the little things that we would like to see the chief work on. And we talked about this in a video I didn't publish. Some content that I took, but we didn't make a video out of. One of the things is that he's very, very, very supportive of his brothers, of his co-workers and the system. Like, he is very much pro-police, pro-anybody government, to an extent where he lets his personal feelings of that kind of potentially get muddied when it comes to actual legal endeavors. And that being said, he also has a pretty good heart. dude's got a good heart. He's got pretty good ethics and morals. He makes mistakes like any other human, so sometimes he's off. But ultimately what we learned about him was, man, he's trying to do the right thing. You know what I mean? He's trying to be moral and ethical, and then have the position to utilize his ability to influence that. And so that's the good thing that we can say. But as you've probably heard both Official Misconduct and I proclaim loudly many times, is that is not law. Law is the best thing that could follow the law. The thing that would follow the law the best would be robots. Like, you remember the movie RoboCop when I was a kid? Some of you are way too young. There was a movie called RoboCop where it ended up going haywire or something. I can't remember, but the premise is this: a robotic cop would follow law the way it's written better than any human ever could. It really would.
Well,
it would still make clerical mistakes because the law was written by humans.
Well, that's because you're removing all emotion.
That's right. And that is the thing that would make law work better. If all emotions and all personal feelings would be set aside, then the legal system would actually operate and function a lot more respectably. Like,
so basically what you're saying is it would be ideal for us to hire less empathetic people.
Yes.
That play less on their emotions.
And are smarter to understand the definitions and the verbiage and the interpretations. That way they're not trying to do opinions and interpret and have feelings.
We need to be looking for intelligent, heartless individuals.
Yeah. I mean, for it to work right.
Law.
Now,
and that seems fitting. No, that seems fitting, because you need someone to remove their emotions, to maintain an unbiased standpoint on everything, and only follow what's in black and white, what's in their programming.
And not just using the words to their own interpretation. You know, like, officer discretion is probably one of the stupidest things that was ever allotted.
Oh, yeah.
Because officers don't need discretion, you know, that's all officers, even the ones with the greatest hearts who mean the best. They don't need discretion, because one of the things they'll do discretion on with good empathy and good heart is they'll let their mom off with something. Their mom can commit a crime and they'll go, well, I'm a moral person. That is my mother. I'm not going to press charges on her. So the woman can go around making victims, right? And I think they recognize some of those things. Even the ones that are feelings officers, like feelings enforcers.
Yeah.
So they try not to do them when it's obvious. But think about how many times they encounter things throughout each day that are not quite that obvious. So they don't have to question, they don't even think to question themselves, am I doing this by the statute? Am I doing this on black and white? So cops don't need description. You know, not if we're going to let the legal system function the way it's written. But in that, you have to ask yourself, is that possible? Like, is it possible to use robots and have all law enforcement being done by robots, right? Or people who are that robotic? Can we afford people to get law degrees to understand all of the aspects of different laws, family law, civil law, criminal law? Yeah, you know, like, could we do? No way could we ever afford it. No way could it ever be incorporated.
I wouldn't like it. I've seen iRobot. I've seen
Well,
that
I meant
movie.
people
Oh,
having that much knowledge first, and then let's move to robots. Would robots work? No, because the law's not written perfectly. So robots would end up shooting innocent people still, just like cops do. There would be those things, so it still wouldn't operate right. The biggest thing is the law does not work. Doesn't matter how you do it. It does not work. Now, it's still a good guideline that was intelligently invented. And it's probably our best option as citizens, in my opinion. It's my opinion, because we have to use it already, right? Like, we can't opt out, not as Americans. I know a lot of people think they can just opt out, but you can't, because even if you opt out on paper, you're still not opted out in physical person. Somebody go grab you up and do something, right? So you can't opt out of it. We have to do it, because that is the society, that is the rule that we live under today. Unfortunately, we're not free. We're not free. The closest thing we have to freedom is the constitutional rights. That is what they call our freedoms in legal definition. So we have to understand those, because that's the best we're going to get. Unless we just eliminated government, and I'm not ready for civil war. I don't want our kids to grow up in time of war, but once again, that's my opinion.
I'm just here for the ride, y'all.
Yeah, you gotta live with what you get.
I'm here for the ride.
These are the cards we're dealt. After what I told everybody about Willie, do you think we should ask them how they feel like Willie did just now? You guys want to vote on? Let's do a vote on how y'all think Willie took that. Put a 1 in the chat if you think he took it exactly like he needed to as the chief of police. Put a 2 in the chat if you think that he did not at all, that he handled it badly. And put a 3 in the chat if you think there's some hiccups. But ultimately, he was doing what he needed to do. We got 2. We got 3. Another 3. Lots of 3s.
I think the deciding factor is going to be what I've seen come across the screen a couple times. It's going to be the ultimate outcome.
Yeah, you always have to wait for the outcome, but it's good to sort of see.
Oh, absolutely,
as you
absolutely.
go.
But I feel like everyone is just on such a ledge because.
Mm-hmm. And I try not to influence y'all's decisions in these things either. When I give you the option to vote, what do you think? I want to know what you think. Like, I know what I think already.
Well, I want to believe that people want to do the right thing and that they may do the wrong thing because of misunderstanding. But at the same time, I'm also sitting back and I'm like, I'm not going to believe it until I see it. So, I always have the ultimate hope for people that they're going to do the right thing in the moment, in the situation.
Well, here's a good question then. What's your ultimate hope for Donovan Herod to do himself?
Some people are beyond even my biggest heart.
They can't. Some people just can't.
And he is beyond.
You can't fix him.
No.
And he's passing that evil traits, those evil traits on in his genetics.
Yep.
He's got kids. He's got several kids. One of which is doing phenomenal. Like we got nothing bad to say about him. The other has been on the same path as his father.
Yep.
And then
Big
there's
time.
other family members that are completely detached and they're their very own people.
Right.
So we're not holding his family responsible for his actions. However, we are going to say that some of those traits did pass down in his line and they still have hope. Maybe.
It's all about accountability. Whenever you see that you're doing something wrong, you have to fix it and you have to stop that disease from getting passed down through the generations.
It's like cancer.
You have to fix it. If you don't acknowledge it and you aren't accountable for it and you don't fix it, it's going to keep passing down through the generations and it's going to get worse.
And each one, if they don't get held accountable all the way as much as they need to stop it, to want to stop it and do stop it, that same one is going to do it again. And that is exactly the case in one of Donovan's sons right now. And I did not want to turn anything into publishing about his kids. I did not want to do that. So, and I may not, but I will inform you now because I've already let the cat out of the bag. The reason Donovan was at the courthouse that day, it turns out, is because his son, and I'm not even going to name him yet, his son is being charged with 2 felony 5s and 1 felony 6, in which they have absolute probable cause that there was a strangulation, a gun involved in front of a child, domestic battery. And it ain't the first one from that one.
It's it's not directly related, but one of my biggest problems that I have with the legal system is that they're not acknowledging the factual basis that a victim of domestic violence has a trauma bond with their perpetrator, like the person who abused them. And until they get that person help, they are not in the right mindset to state whether they feel safe around that person or not safe around that person. Because they literally start fiending for that chemical that is released in their brain during the time of their attack.
Well, that's all something that the psychology experts should be working out. But the point being is that even the victims need accountability. And victims are the last ones us people in society want to point a finger at and say, you need to do something about your behavior, because their behavior is going to the prosecutor and saying, I don't want to press charges. That ain't your position to do, victim. We're victims, and you do press charges, because the only way that other person is going to be held accountable is if you say the truth. You need to tell the truth. You need to say what happened. You need to wipe your feelings aside. You need to quit being a little bitch about your victimization, and you need to move on and say, this is what I need to do. And I don't mean that to be hard on anybody. I mean that because I want help for the right people, and I want accountability to be had in the right positions.
And Stumblefoot, I am here. If there are any domestic violence victims out there and you need help and you need resources and you are worried that you are going to fall right back into that repetitive behavior, reach out to me, because I know some phenomenal places.
Yeah, and here's the bottom line to it. Nobody can convince you to do it.
Right.
You got to be the one to do it. And I'm just going to be the guy that I am. I'm going to say, get the fuck up off your ass and do it. You are being weak when you don't. And it's your fault when you don't. Now, it's not your fault that you got beaten. It's not your fault that the other person acted in a way that hurt you. Okay? Right. What is your fault is allowing it. That's your fault. And you need to own it up.
And here's another thing. If you are that victim and you are to that point where you are so weak that you have to go back, at least do it with a little bit of intelligence and say, it's not going to end with me. It didn't end
move on
with
to
the
somebody
last
else.
person. It's not going to end with me. And while I have to run back because my brain's telling me I need to go back.
If you're allowing it to be removed from the system because you love that person or whatever, what you're really doing is being unempathetic to the next person in line.
Exactly.
What you're doing is being selfish, and I will hold those people accountable as well. Maybe not on my channel, but in my personality, in my real life. And look, I'm not completely innocent of not violating that moral of myself. For example, during the raid, when it happened, at the time, my thought pattern was, because I thought I was getting killed, guys. Like when they shot that weapon at the door, when I got yanked out and beat up in cuffs, I thought, oh God, this is my last moment on earth, and then I thought the dog's last moment on earth, which shows me that it moves to the next one in line. And then I thought, oh God, it's Tiffany's last day on earth whenever her spine got fractured. I didn't know it was her spine at the moment. I thought it was, but I didn't know it. But anyway, she got hurt too. And the whole time, now looking back on it, yeah, I think I should have fought. I think I was in the right position to defend my family, and that is what I probably should have done. Don't take that as a threat, anybody, but it was experience for me to realize that my Second Amendment was absolutely necessary at that time, and so was my First Amendment, and I should have stood on my rights because I knew what was happening was wrong. But my reaction, what I did was I thought, and I may or may not been right, but I may or may not been wrong. I thought the farthest we can shift into compliance, the better our outcome is going to be to survive.
But
listen. And hang on, let me finish.
Okay,
this is
ahead.
important.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a hard time sleeping on this. And I chose what I felt to be the most respectable, potentially protective officers in the group. And I talked to him like we were friends. Okay. Ultimately, that did potentially create a long-term, like maybe in the long term, a friendship. However, that was not the place for me at that moment. Looking back on it, I realized that I faulted in the thing that I'm telling victims not to do. And it ain't the moment necessarily. It is standing up no matter when and where to it, no matter how you have to do it. So I think ultimately we are making the right decision by filing the lawsuit, by publishing the truth, by pushing for charges and everything we're doing. We're doing it the right way and probably the most moral way. But on the same note,
we do try to do everything from the best moral perspective.
But on the same note, it has caused issues in our lawsuit because they're like, man, they beat you up. Why are you being friendly? I did that because it's survival mode, guys.
Well,
but it's not acceptable. People don't understand that. They think, oh, well, you must not have been in that bad a shape because you were talking to them. I'm sorry, but that is a human response to survival. Now, that doesn't mean it was right, because those people are right too. I shouldn't have just talked to them. I should have said, you don't belong here. This is illegal. I'm not going to accept it. I have my constitutional rights. I'm going to stand on them. And that's why we do what we do today. We're not going to make that same mistake twice.
Well, what I experienced that night, and I don't know that I've really talked to you too much about this, is it literally threw me back into the feelings that I had thought that I'd overcome during my previous encounters with domestic violence. It was literally my PTSD setting back in, and what I did during all of those instances is I did everything to make that person happy, to make sure that I could survive that night and hopefully have the right mindset to leave the next day.
Yeah, to get out of it. That is how you feel, and that is a response of abused people, and abused people need to quit being bitches. We're not bitches no more.
Well, that's why whenever I talk about how I rewired my brain, so to speak, I mean, I don't know any other way to explain it, is I got angry at myself after that.
Yeah,
I was like, why did you do that? You allowed yourself to be a victim again, on top of being a victim. I mean, it was just way too much victimization.
While being victimized.
I was tired of it, and I said, you know what? I said, from here on out, anytime you feel like running, you're going to go towards it. Mm-hmm. And that's literally what I do.
And we don't practice it perfectly because it's even new to us. Like, sometimes we're standing on shit we're not right. And that goes more personal, like with each other. Sometimes it'll be like, you're going to wash this plate that you used. And the other one's going to go, I'm standing on, I'm not washing the motherfucker.
I am not washing that plate. That plate's going to sit in there for a week. So.
but you got to practice, because it's new to all of us. All of us need to practice it. Our former generations have embedded in us the wrong thing to do for a long time as a society. We've been told to have automatic respect, when the word respect literally means during an engagement you give back exactly what was just given to you during the engagement, not the whole engagement, but as it happens. And people don't understand the word respect at all. I mean, it is so the word is disrespected itself. Like, the definition of it is disrespected when people say, give respect to those who have earned it. Well, they don't earn it, and they're being given it the way society is telling it to be used at all. When I started digging into the word respect, I was like, what the fuck have I been thinking? You don't respect people you don't know. You can't go in and treat someone good who's treating you bad because you don't know them. That's the opposite of what you're supposed to do if you understand the damn word.
What you do is you go in and you treat them neutral.
You start out, neutral.
Neutral, mellow, chill.
It's saying if you start out on a positive note, like, hello, how are you today? That's you starting the engagement. And with a positive note. And then when the person says, I'm doing great, how are you doing today? Then they just responded respectfully. And then if they say, you know what? You gotta, you stink. And then you go, oh, well, your mom's fat. That's respect. Maybe not at the mom, maybe something else should have been used. But you get what I'm saying. During the engagement, respect means to give back what you just got, and so many parents. And if you're a parent and you're doing this to your kids, I'm telling you right now, in my personal opinion, I'm telling you, fucking stop it. Do not tell your kids to auto give positively when they're being treated negatively because they are disrespectful. That is the word, disrespectful. And I'm sick of disrespectful people ruining this society. I'm on a tangent.
Well, I mean, it happened for a reason. Everything that happens for a reason. Maybe somebody watching needed to hear what our tangents were about. Maybe someone needed that today.
Well, I think it helps describe our personalities on our channels.
It does.
Because a lot of people think that we're, out there poking the bear on purpose just to get reaction. And here's the truth. Nothing on our channel has anything to do with our personal, other than what we've gone through, but it's not, we're not trying to get clout. We're not trying to gain fame. We're not trying to, become entertaining.
I'm just sick and tired of seeing victims.
Yeah, we're doing work. It is work in the legal system that needs to be fixed, and it is these are damages to society that we are trying to repair per our new understanding after the event in which we have experienced. So we're utilizing our experience to try to change the things that we know are happening that are not correct, that are wrong, that are not going the way they're supposed to, and we almost follow the letter of the law almost perfectly to do it. So there is no argument about what we're doing. There's no way to argue what we're doing.
You know what though? I've got to put this out there. I've got to put this out there because I was just thinking about it. I will never forgive Donovan Herod for this one moment. Knowing everything that I know about that man and having seen everything that I've seen in black and white, whenever he had me pulled aside in that kitchen and he was telling me that he is against domestic violence and that he protects victims, he lied to me.
He tried to get her to say I broke her back.
He lied to me, and he was trying to get me to turn on the one person who has always protected me.
I've never put hands on.
He needed me to turn on the one person that has always protected me, and that's Chris.
And it was coming from a guy who literally has repetitively committed domestic violence.
He doesn't protect people from domestic violence. He commits domestic violence, and that I will never forgive that man for, and he will always be a disgusting piece of shit.
Now look, I think forgiveness is, to an extent, is possible for people who have slipped up and accidentally committed an act if they realize and all the way take accountability, and then time has to pass. They have to prove themselves, in that situation. But when you're talking about a person who has a prosecutor buddy or somebody in his buddy system delete it from his record and then go on to just act like it never fucking happened, that is not accountability. That is exactly the opposite. That person has not learned shit, and that's why the man runs around breaking women's backs. That's why the man beats people when they're in handcuffs. That's why he's hitting them with flashlights while they're in handcuffs over fucking disputes that somebody else had that he cares about. He don't care about nothing but being a tough guy, and you can see that in his on TV where he chose to go expose his personality. You watch that and you go, this is not a good guy. I don't know if he thought he was going to portray himself to be a good guy on that show, but he didn't. He exposed himself,
opposite.
And then he was even exposing himself for being a chicken shit, because in his season, the competitor that he had, the other guy, walked circles around him in what they were supposed to be doing, walked circles around him. And not only that, but what they were supposed to be doing, and this is chilling. The premise of that stupid show was for the cops that were locked up, fake locked up, to commit crimes inside there the whole time. That's what they were doing. They were buying drugs. They were challenging the COs to catch them in committing crimes. Donovan Herod brought a key into the jail, the real jail.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what that could have caused if they weren't all the way in control of it? And they can't be. And David Lowe's case proves to you guys they cannot be all the way in control. They thought they were all the way in control in that situation, and they're not in control. Inmates are people. They are smart. Some of them are MacGyvers.
Some of them are phenomenally intelligent, and
because they are just like
crazy.
All they are is the same people that were not in jail before that are in jail at the time. And I'll tell you what, they can get keys that are snuck in. They can get them, and they will get them, and they do get them. And what happens after those keys are gotten is proven in that lawsuit that's filed on Clark County from 28 women. And I can't say the word without putting a strike on the channel.
Yeah, let's not do that. Melissa, you had put a comment on there that, you know, whenever I said that I would never forgive him, I don't mean like it's something that I'm going to dwell on for the rest of my life. Absolutely not.
Which means he doesn't deserve to be forgiven.
Me not forgiving him, actually, it has no bearing on my life anymore. I hear the name and I'm saying nope. It's just literally me saying he is not worth me even acknowledging the possibility that he could do any better or be a different person, because his repetitive, consistent behavior has proven time and time again that the only thing that he cares about doing is getting what he wants or what he needs in that moment, and he does not give a damn about who he hurts to get it.
And hiding that he did it.
Yep.
Like, that is all he focuses on, is hiding that he did it. Just like he's focusing on hiding that we were only trying to say his license plates were expired. He's hiding that by doing this huge, extravagant BS drama show, right? And that's what he's good at, is drama. He's actually not even good at it. Don't watch, you're not even good at it, you know? Well, no, you know what? I'm not talking to him. I hope he doesn't watch. I would actually like for him to block himself from anything. And if I ever found that he was in any of our media, I would absolutely block him in a heartbeat. I have zero interest in having anything at all with that man. I never did. I never did, ever. And I never will.
No.
What I would like to see is for the victims that are reaching out to me, for us to collaborate and then give those facts to the right people, and then utilize the channel to ensure that nobody lets him out of it this time.
It's going to take all of us,
Put
because
together.
he's been allowed to do it for so long.
And then we all walk away and let him handle it from there.
You don't
Let
have
the law
to carry
handle
it with you, but you're going to have to lift that burden long enough to protect anyone else from becoming a victim. I mean, if you're okay with seeing and knowing what he has done to you on a personal level, knowing that
That's
it's
fine.
going to happen to other people, that's fine.
But don't let
if
other
you
people.
can live with that's fine too.
For you?
I suppose for you, but it's not fine for me.
Yeah, and it's not fine to the next person in line that you're not thinking about when you do that.
Exactly.
You're not thinking about the next person in line. And there's people who are watching this who know we're talking to them too. But to those of you that are watching this and know that we're talking to you too, we're not pointing just at you.
Oh no, absolutely not.
There are more of you
There are more people that have been silent out of fear, and we need you people to come
stand
to
up.
us.
We need you. It doesn't. No, you don't
You
have
don't
to
even
come
have
to
to
us.
come to us. You
We
can go
need
to anyone you trust.
Stand up and do the right thing, because you know what? It ain't about you anymore. Just because you let go of it, that's great. Let go of it. We do too. We even do. But we're not letting go for the next person in line. That's why we stand still. And we're going to stand through protection orders. We're going to stand through false reports. We're going to stand if they try to falsely criminalize us. We're going to continue to stand
through my cherry getting popped, going to jail, if that's what it
If
leads
that's
to.
what it takes.
If that's what it leads to, I'm going to do that.
But we
because-
will not violate the law in doing so.
No.
And we got representation for this situation right now, because we're not stupid. And we're going to continue to do the right thing without breaking the law, no matter who tries to stop us. Anyone out there who thinks that you're going to intimidate us out of doing what we're doing, which is lawful acts, it's not going to work.
Absolutely not.
Not
No.
us. And if you're even thinking to go all the way to the point of, a false thing happening, life, how do I say it without violating YouTube standards?
They
You guys
say-
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Even if we were to end, that ain't gonna work either, because we cover our butts. You will absolutely be held accountable for that happening to us, no matter what you try to falsify. We're not on drugs, so it ain't gonna be no OD. We're not involved in anything nefarious, so it ain't gonna be some criminal act went wrong. We're not putting ourselves at risk anywhere. It ain't gonna work. You can't falsify something to happen to us. So, and I know that's extreme, guys, but we've been getting warned of that left and right for a long time.
Yeah, I've literally dug my heels in. I ain't going anywhere.
We're following the
Absolutely
law.
not, because I want to see people to stop getting hurt.
Yep, it's for the next people in line. It ain't even for us.
We got to clean it up for our kids.
We got to clean it up for the next victim in line.
Yeah.
We got to clean it up for the next person that decides, oh, this date wasn't so bad with this guy. Or we got to clean it up for the next person who's going, I didn't do it, sir, and I'm in handcuffs, and please stop hitting me with the flashlight. We got to do it for the people that's going to happen to next, because we fault. You know, we fault. And me and her, we won't. We're standing up. We're going to continue to stand up.
People can talk about me. They can say whatever they feel they need to say. As long as that makes them feel better, I don't care, because I know what I do. I know who I do it for, and I do it for
victims.
Yeah. I do it for people in chat. I do it for my family. I do it for victims. I do it for friends. People I don't even know. People I don't even know.
And then maybe this much for ourselves. And if you got a problem with that,
I don't even think about me anymore.
I don't either. It's kind of, I want to work on that, because I think we do matter, and all these people think we matter, you know. So I think we owe ourselves a little bit of work on that part of it.
That's
we're not.
interesting.
Let's.
Okay.
We're gonna turn this whole live into like a psychological thing. If we're not
Anyway,
careful.
that's something I need to work on for me later on, because
Oh, can you work on the washing one plate thing too?
No.
While you're at it.
No, because that's more for you than for me. And I just
For me,
realized
guys.
I
See,
need to
we're not
work on
done.
me too.
We're not done. I'm just gonna have to keep washing her damn plates. We have a dishwasher. That's the worst part.
And it's not me.
One of the things she stands on, this is so stupid. She won't empty the dishwasher. You won't.
That's your one.
No, oh, it's my one job. So it ain't. Like, we never did come to that conclusion. But anyway, it's funny. We're normal people.
It's so interesting.
We
The
have
stuff
our
that
dumb
we
stuff.
disagree and argue about is literally unloading a dishwasher.
This girl would rather hand wash a
I will
huge mess.
hand wash a homemade country fried pork chop.
Just because there's a few
You know.
dishes in the dishwasher that are clean that she would have to put away, and she wants me to be the one to do it.
I'm a bit stubborn.
But then again, that's how she is to me. So we take that back and forth. All right, guys, we're normal people.
Yeah.
We love you. And I think the video that we're doing here is satisfied. I hope that our service worked pretty good, because we've been noticing we've had a lot of troubles with reception in our lives. And this is probably the best thing she can do with the allotted time that she has to post videos. So her channel, you know, has been all over the place on ideas, but as far as actually being able to do them, it's not gone the way we've wanted.
People are saying they can't imagine me being stubborn.
She's stubborn as hell.
I am.
And I love it. You know, don't bother me. Like, we have our spats over it, but it ain't nothing. You know, we're just like, whatever. I have to go to another room for 5 minutes.
I don't know. Sometimes I go down the dollar store and have a heyday in their dollar bin.
Oh God. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, so I was talking about your drive on your channel. So she's committed to doing some lives just to chit chat and chat with you guys in her membership program. So if you enjoy chit chatting with OMC, because this is her channel and I should stop talking so much on it, but what she's going to do for you guys, since these videos, these lives of us going out in person and doing these things is going to be more towards her normal basic channel feed, she's going to commit to doing more in her membership program of one-on-ones, behind the scenes, and I mean way behind the scenes, like getting to know us and things like that.
Yeah, like I promised some Q&A and stuff like that, and I'm going to do that. My thing is I don't do well whenever it's just me speaking, and that's part of, you know, my past trauma. I don't deal well with it.
Yeah, so those of you that are telling me to shut up whenever she's in the middle of stuff,
he's literally helping me work into being able to vocalize more, because whenever I first got with him, I couldn't vocalize a sentence the appropriate way. It was terrible.
Yeah, it was really, really hard to communicate with her. And it was her trauma, but she's worked a long way past it. She's very capable of doing certain chit chats, and she's extremely articulate and intelligent when it comes to the legal system that she's learned. Way better than me. That part, the naysayers are right about. When she studies, it's amazing. Like, when I met her, she was going through cosmetology school, and she was at the part where they had to actually learn a lot of medical. Like, believe it or not, in cosmetology school, there's a whole section in the testing that is about medical. That might have paused out. So there's a whole bunch of cosmetology study that is about medical. I repeated that because her phone rang. It might have cut you
Yeah,
off.
sorry, I forgot to.
And it was difficult questions, you know, and a lot of them testing. And this girl would grab her notes and go off into a room by herself for an hour and come back with flashcards and say, ask me. And it would be a stack of flashcards this big. I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. And she would have like all of them. Like, she's great with taking on information and then testing. So black and white, you know, there's your huckleberry. As far as understanding it in a physical sense and utilizing it in the moment, that's me. I'm the huckleberry. So when we're doing my videos on my channel and you guys hear me jumping on top of the conversation, it's because in the moment, that's my duty. It's my job. You know, and she knows that, and she wants me to do that. She wants me to do that.
Well, the whole time that he's doing his part, I am literally in the background, and I'm like going through as a processor. I'm like, yep, nope, yep.
And what you guys might not see is where she'll hit me with her elbow and say, hang on, you're off on the definition. And she'll tell me that in my ear, you know. So we work together. Like, it is, I don't even know how we would do it without each other. I think we would still be able to do it, both of us. Like, you would still be able to file lawsuits. I would still be able to, you know,
right,
challenge in the moment. But I think without each other, it would be riskier, and it would be slower.
Oh, and before anybody gets any ideas, if we were to ever break up, like if they were like, well, let's just put a stake in between them. Like, even if we were to break up, we're still going to keep doing this.
Yeah, together.
Yeah, like, this is still going to be always a thing. We've already agreed to that. That's already done. That's a sealed deal. So,
Yeah.
like, even if this
You can't stop
relationship
us.
doesn't sustain, this partnership will.
Yeah.
So, before any...
And we're not talking about breaking up or anything.
Oh, no,
y'all. We're
I'm just saying, before any nefarious actions, you know, if anybody's getting a bright idea,
thinking that they're going to come put a wedge between us, and which would be kind of hard to do anyway.
People have tried that already.
Oh, lots.
And it hasn't.
Oh,
yeah.
some very people in power positions have tried desperately, like the judges, and there were the DCS people. Oh my God, they lied to her in text messages, lying about me, trying to get her to break up. Was telling her you won't get her kids back unless she breaks up with me, and it was false. Like, and she and I worked it out. I proved it. You know, so good luck. Good luck if you think you're gonna wedge us. It ain't gonna happen.
No.
You know, and even if you do break us up as a relationship,
We already have a contract in place.
you
so
ain't
sorry.
gonna break us up in our endeavors. You know? So, and I doubt they could do either, you know.
I highly doubt that they could do either, but just saying.
Can I make it funny? I couldn't even get her to leave when I wanted to. When we first started, I didn't want a relationship. I said, I don't want a relationship. She goes, I ain't going nowhere. So I don't think we can be broke up. It's like not possible.
No. Yeah, he did try to make me leave. He did. And
I didn't really want her to, but
well, my thing was I was going to school and I was like, listen, I'm already here. Hush, I'm busy. I'm like, I'll go later if you need me to, but right now I'm busy.
she handled me perfectly. Perfectly. You know, and
like,
then I
that's not
couldn't
important
resist
right now.
but try to help her with the legal situation she was in. It's kind of like maybe what I've been sort of driven to do my whole life and didn't even know it. But when I saw that she was being railroaded by people in these political positions, I was like, man, all you got to do is just be real with them. Be a man in a position to, and I don't mean that as man as in like a person with a pee-pee. I mean, be honorable. Right, that's probably a better word, and walk right up and go, what is the deal? Present it to me factually. Let's hash it out. $5 from Cliff Williams. Thank you, sir. Put a
Thank
one in the
you,
chat
Cliff. I
if you
was
think
reading
they
that.
should do live panels. This is live panels, Cliff.
I think he's talking more like something
panels.
scheduled where people can come up. I think that would be fun. I think
Panels.
that would be.
Yeah, Cliff, I'll tell you the only reason we're not investing more in panels at the moment is because our damn computer. We've only got one actually functioning. Okay, we have 2 laptops, but mine, the camera's inserted upside down. So literally we would be upside down, right? We don't know how to fix it because it's got one of them rotate. It's screwed up. And it's slow and it's ancient.
And then the new one that I went out and bought,
It won't get an internet connection.
It doesn't have the up to speed things that it needs to be able to have fast Wi-Fi and everything
It
else.
won't accept the fast feed for Wi-Fi for a panel. So like we could do like something that doesn't take much bandwidth with it, Like it
I
works great
literally
for doing
have
the
to
lawsuit
shut
and
down
stuff,
every single device,
and it
but
still don't work.
The main thing the current laptop was bought for is just to type up legal docs, and it does amazing.
It's great at
It
that.
is phenomenal, just for that sole purpose,
Yep.
and that's all I can afford it.
But it's no good for panels. So don't get me wrong, we will grow along with the channel, and we will make investments as we go, and we have not forgotten about everybody's t-shirts.
No.
Okay. There's been a lot on our plate if you stop and think about it. There's so much on our damn plate lately.
It's been a lot.
But we're sorry for being slow about her membership program. I'm sorry for being slow about getting your t-shirts to you, and you will get it all. And Cliff, you will get panels.
Yes.
We appreciate and love doing panels.
I enjoy doing panels because it gives me a chance to do something with you and still be able to vocalize.
Yeah, together, where we're not just here and here in the car.
Yeah.
But we can actually talk to other people in the community, people that we can interview, and we've actually been putting out feelers for it. Matter of fact, that chief that was just here, we talked about doing one to kind of update you, but I think we've found a route around that now. You know, I'm going to publish my video for Thursday tomorrow. Which means I got to start working on that again, and I got some stuff to do for work today still.
Yep.
We better get going.
I've got stuff I've got to do too. You know, I've got to head up north and make a quick trip. So
personal stuff you don't want to put on here.
Yep.
All right, so man, we held 170 people in here for that long. You all are amazing.
Yes, we love you guys so much, and we love the moments when he gets to go off on tangents, and I get to emotion drop my feelings too, like bombs on you guys.
I didn't mean to. But
well, some person did put in the chat that she felt that maybe it was for her because it was something that she needed to hear, and that's great. Like whenever I said maybe this happened for a reason, like whenever
everything that we're going through, we feel like it has happened for like the timing, the thing. It's all been what's meant for us to do.
So we just go with the flow, and that was the flow, so we went with it, and here we are.
Well, I think that's the position we're in and handling this stuff with Donovan right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we didn't care to be honest with you. You know, just like a lot of things, there's been stuff that's been put right on our platter where we go, man, that doesn't even, like, it's not what we want to do right now. But we do it because it's the right thing to do, you know?
Yep, so before we get going again, we absolutely love you guys. We enjoy getting to talk to you guys.
Oh yeah, we do this on purpose to include you.
Yeah.
Hang on, I gotta address something right quick.
Okay.
I think I saw Cliff or somebody say, "How much money do you need?" We don't, buddy. We don't need money right now. I mean, we are like anyone else. You know, we're not. Thank you, Kelly. Speaking of. We're like anyone else, man. You know, we're paying our lifestyle paycheck to paycheck. We're making it. We're not asking.
We'll work to get that upgrade.
I was asking whenever I was in the position where I needed it, because that was when you guys helped me pay for the attorney's retainer.
Well, that was something that wasn't.
We didn't have it.
It was an
so
immediate need.
You guys came up with it. Thank you so much. And that's the only time we'll ever answer that question with a response directly saying we need money. So I don't know how to answer that other than that. You know, when people give, we utilize it for the channels. We utilize it for what we need to continue, because really our lives revolve around this completely. Even though we have, like, I have a job, I mean a career. I have a business and I maintain it still. It's been damaged a lot, but that hasn't changed. Were you waving at the camera?
Yeah.
Or I thought somebody was over.
No,
I
was waving.
I thought she was waving out that way.
Uh,
But anyway, no, we don't ask for money unless we absolutely do need it.
It
So
has to be like an immediate, urgent need, and we can work around this. We'll figure it out like we always do.
yeah. So you know, patience is virtue, I reckon, and we will let you know when we do need money. Hopefully, that won't happen. And we've been well taken care of by you guys and by other people. Well, I can still say you guys, because those people are actually watching. They might not get in the comment section, but they watch, and it's them. So the people that have supported, look at that.
Thank you,
Odin. Big $300 of Norwegian currency. Thank you, sir.
Odin's going to help me navigate my phone.
Oh yeah, man. I have one of these, but it's the older version. But she'll just have to play around with it, right?
Well, he's going to help me. I'm going to email him this evening.
Yeah. Hey, are you all ready to go?
All right.
We love you.
You guys.
See you on the next one.